Hi everyone, I'm Linda Reimer, one of the librarians at the Southeast Bend County Library. Welcome, Library Connections number 66. This is the Friday, August 20th, 2021 edition of Library Connections. And just a note, Library Connections videos premiere on Facebook, Fridays at 1 p.m., and they may also be found on the Southeast Bend County Library's YouTube page. Jumping right in with the top 5 fiction bestsellers for this week. At number 1, we have Billy Summers by Stephen King. A killer for hire who only takes out bad guys seeks redemption as he does one final job. At number 2, Vortex by Catherine Coulter, the 25th book in the FBI thriller series. A college frat rave and a mission in Iran offer clues for agents Sherlock and Savage. At number 3, It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. A battered wife, raised in a violent home, attempts to halt the cycle of abuse. At number 4, The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave. Hannah Hall discovers truths about her missing husband and bonds with his daughter from a previous relationship. And at number 5, People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. Opposites Poppy and Alex meet to vacation together one more time in hopes of saving their relationship. Moving on to the top 5 nonfiction bestsellers of the week. At number 1, American Marxism by Mark R. Levin. The Fox News host gives his take on the Green New Deal, critical race theory, and social activism. At number 2, The Long Slide by Tucker Carlson, a collection of previously published essays from 1995 to 2016 by the Fox News host. At number 3, The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk, how trauma affects the body and mind, and innovative treatments for recovery. At number 4, I Alone Can Fix It by Carol Leonnig and Philip Rucker. The Pulitzer Prize-winning reporters examine Trump's final year in office with a focus on the key players around him. And at number 5, Giannis by Maren Fader. The personal and professional journey of Giannis Antetokounmpo from Athens, Greece, to leading the Milwaukee Bucks to the NBA championship in 2021. And apologies to the basketball star and sports fans out there, that's as close as I can come to actually pronouncing the gentleman's name. I've given it a try and listened, but I can't get any closer than that. I think Giannis is the first name is close, but that Antetokounmpo, I got to work on my Greek. So anyway, if you like basketball, check out the book Giannis. This Library Connections episode is a little different because instead of just recommending a couple of items that are cool to read, listen to, or watch this week, I'm going to tell you a little bit about some of the new books coming out in September. You may very well be aware of this, but of course we certainly are in library land. Autumn is one of the peak times of the year for the publication of new books, so there's a lot of stuff coming out this fall. Thus, I just selected 10 of the most notable publications coming out in September. There are more. And I should note, these are in alphabetical order. It's that librarian thing. It's not meant to indicate that I think the book at number 1 is better than the book at number 10. I just liked being a librarian to keep things in alphabetical order. So the first new book for this September to be aware of is the new Sally Rooney novel, Beautiful World, Where Are You? So a little about the plot. Alice, a novelist, meets Felix, who works in a warehouse, and asks him if he'd like to travel to Rome with her. Meanwhile, in Dublin, her best friend Eileen is getting over a breakup, and she slips back into flirting with Simon, a man she has known since childhood. Alex, Felix, Eileen, and Simon are still young, but life is catching up with them. They desire each other, they delude each other, they get together, and they break apart. They have sex, they worry about sex, they worry about their friendships, and the world they live in. Are they standing in the last lighted room before the darkness bearing witness to something? Or will they find a way to believe in a beautiful world? You'll have to read the new Sally Rooney novel to find out. The second recommendation I have is for the new Jonathan and Jesse Kellerman novel, The Burning. And I should note these books should all be available both in the digital catalog and as print books through StarCat in September. If you want to read something on this list that you're not finding, call the library or shoot me an email. My email address is at the end of this video. So about The Burning. A raging wildfire, a massive blackout, a wealthy man shot to death in his palatial hilltop home. For Clay Edison, it's all in a day's work. As a deputy coroner, caring for the dead, he speaks for those who cannot speak for themselves. He prides himself on an unflinching commitment to the truth, even when it gets him into trouble. Then, while working the murder scene, Clay is horrified to discover a link to his brother Luke. Horrified, but not surprised. Luke is fresh out of prison and struggling to stay on the straight and narrow, and now he's gone AWOL. The race is on for Clay to find him before anyone else can. Confronted with Luke's legacy of violence, Clay is forced to reckon with his own suspicions, resentments, and loyalties. Is his brother a killer? Or could he be the victim in all of this too? Well, I'll have to read The Burning to find out. Recommendation number 3 is for the new Craig Johnson novel, Daughter of the Morning Star. When Lolo Long's niece Jaya begins receiving death threats, Tribal Police Chief Long calls on Absaroka County Sheriff Walt Longmire, along with Henry Standing Bear, as lethal backup. Jaya Longshot Long is the phenomenon of the Lame Deer Lady Stars High School basketball team. Wow, try saying that 10 times fast. But basically, she's a basketball star. And she is following in the steps of her older sister, who disappeared a year previously, a victim of the scourge of missing Native American women in Indian country. Lolo hopes that having Longmire involved might draw some public attention to the girl's plight. But with this maneuver, she also, inadvertently, places the good sheriff in a one-on-one with the deadliest adversary he has ever faced, both in this world and the next. So we have an adventure theme going with these books for September, and I think Daughter of the Morning Star is another adventure tale to check out. And continuing with suspense and adventure, our fourth recommendation is for the new J.D. Robb book, Forgotten in Death. Lieutenant Eve Dallas and her team are digging into the murder of this woman who sold paper flowers. and shared tips with the police. When Eve is summoned to a neighboring building site where the bones of a female and a fetus have been discovered underneath the concrete floor of a restaurant undergoing demolition. To complicate matters, this property belongs to Eve's wealthy husband, Irishman Rourke. As Eve juggles two different cases, one thing is certain: it doesn't matter whether a murder occurred yesterday or decades ago, Eve will see to it that every victim receives justice. This is the 53rd installment of her Eve Dallas series, following Faithless in Death from 2021, earlier 2021, obviously. Rob continues to deliver expertly paced, cleverly plotted, and snappily witty suspense, and that is the abridged version of the booklist review. Our fifth reading recommendation for September is the new Colson Whitehead novel, Harlem Shuffle. Two-time Pulitzer winner Whitehead returns with a sizzling heist novel set in civil rights era Harlem. It's 1959, and Ray Carney has built an unlikely kingdom selling used furniture. A husband, a father, and the son of a man who once worked as muscle for a local crime boss, Carney is only slightly bent when it comes to being crooked. But when his cousin Freddie, whose stolen goods Carney occasionally fences through his furniture store, decides to rob the historic Hotel Teresa, a lethal cast of underworld characters enter Carney's life. Among them, the mobster Chink Montague, known for his facility with a straight razor, World War II veteran Pepper, and the murderous purple-suited Miami Joe. These, and other characters, force Carney to decide just how bent he wants to be. It's a superlative story, but the most impressive achievement is Whitehead's loving depiction of a Harlem 60 years gone. That rustling, keening thing of people and concrete, which lands as detailed and vivid as Joyce's Dublin. Don't be surprised if this one wins Whitehead another major award. And that is the Starred Publishers Weekly Review. Our 6th September reading recommendation is the new Iris Johansen novel, High Stakes, and it's another action-adventure suspense novel. Logan Tanner lives the exhilarating life of a professional gambler, taking risks with nerves of steel. From casinos in Macau to Monte Carlo to Milan, he's racked up a fortune and becomes a living legend. But all the glitz and glamour hide a dark and violent past as an extractor, a world that comes rushing back to him when the beautiful and innocent Laura Balkan enters his life. Soon Logan is drawn into the conflict between two Russian mafia bosses, over Laura, naturally, whose life now hangs in the balance. Logan has been offered something more valuable to him than money, information he desperately needs, in exchange for getting Laura out of Russia and to safety. Once together, Tanner discovers that Laura is a force to be reckoned with in her own right. Tanner's search for the truth leads them to the bright lights of Las Vegas, where the person who was hunting Laura now lies in wait for them. With the stakes climbing with each deadly confrontation, Logan and Laura are soon catapulted into a game against pure evil. The odds are stacked against them, but it's a game they know they must play, even if it may cost them their lives. So if you're in the mood for deadly struggle and lots of suspense, check out High Stakes by Iris Johansen in September. Our 7th recommended September read is the new Richard Osman novel, The Man Who Died Twice. This is part of the Thursday Murder Club mystery series. Elizabeth Joyce, Ron, and Ibrahim, the Thursday Murder Club, are still riding high off their recent real-life murder case, and they are looking forward to a bit of peace and quiet at Cooper's Chase, their posh retirement village. But they are just plain out of luck. An unexpected visitor, an old pal of Elizabeth's, or perhaps more than just a pal, arrives desperate for her help. He has been accused of stealing diamonds worth millions from the wrong men, and he's seriously on the lam. Then, as night follows day, the first body is found, but not the last. Elizabeth, Joyce, Ron, and Ibrahim are up against a ruthless murderer who wouldn't bat an eyelid at knocking off 4 septuagenarians. Can our 4 friends catch the killer before the killer catches them? That is the question. And if they find the diamonds too, well, wouldn't that be a bonus? You should never put anything beyond the Thursday Murder Club. Sounds like a great read. Our 8th recommended read for September is the new Lisa Jewell novel, The Night She Disappeared. On a beautiful summer night, in a charming English suburb, a young woman and her boyfriend disappear after partying at the massive country estate of a new college friend. 1 year later, a writer moves into a cottage on the edge of the woods that borders the same estate. Known locally as the Dark Place, the dense forest is the writer's favorite area for long walks. And it's on one such walk that she stumbles upon a mysterious note that simply reads, "Dig here." Could this be a clue towards what has happened to the missing young couple? And what else exactly is buried in this haunted ground? With her signature rich, dark, and intricately twisted prose, the author has created a dazzling work of suspense that will keep you on the edge of your seat until the final page. Another excellent read, The Night She Disappeared, coming out in September. And moving on to a nonfiction title, the new Erik Larson book is coming out in September. It's called No One Goes Alone. The new Erik Larson book is only available on audio because it's a ghost story. And Larson says ghost stories are best told aloud. It will be available both in the digital catalog and StarCat in September. And when I say the digital catalog, I should translate. I do mean it will be available as a CD audiobook. So having said that, let me tell you about the plot. A group of researchers set sail for the island of Dorne in the North Atlantic in 1905 to explore the cause of several mysterious disappearances. Most notably, a family of 4 who vanished without a trace after a week-long holiday on the island. Led by Professor James, they begin to explore the island's sole cottage and surrounding landscape in search of a logical explanation. The idyllic setting belays an undercurrent of danger and treachery, with raging storms and unnerving discoveries adding to the sense of menace. As increasingly unexplainable events unfold, the now stranded investigators are unsure whether they can trust their own eyes, their instincts, one another, or even themselves. Erik Larson has written a terrifying tale of suspense underpinned with actual people and events. Created specifically to entertain audio listeners, this eerie blend of the ghostly and the real will keep listeners captivated till the blood-chilling end. So if you're in the mood for a fall ghost story, check out No One Goes Alone by Eric Larson in September. And our 10th recommendation for a great September read is also nonfiction. This is the new book, Vanderbilt, The Rise and Fall of an American Dynasty by Anderson Cooper with Catherine Howe. And about the plot of this great nonfiction tale, this is the story of the Vanderbilt dynasty told by a member of the family, the great-great-great-grandson of the dynasty's founder, Cornelius Vanderbilt, journalist Anderson Cooper. Cooper joins with historian Catherine Howe to explore the story of his legendary family and their outsized influence. Cooper and Howe breathe life into the ancestors who built the family's empire, basked in the Commodore's wealth, hosted lavish galas, and became synonymous with unfettered capitalism and high society. Moving from the hardscrabble wharfs of old Manhattan to the lavish drawing rooms of Gilded Age Fifth Avenue, from the ornate summer palaces of Newport to the courts of Europe, and all the way to modern-day New York, Cooper and Howe wryly recount the triumphs and tragedies of an American dynasty unlike any other. And that too should be a great read. And that's the program for this week. I'll be back next week with another edition of Library Connections, and obviously, didn't think to mention it till now, I didn't have jury duty this week, although I certainly would have served, but they didn't need me, so I've been in library land all week. But I digress. Have a great weekend, everyone.